Let's go to our Tuesday panel. Star columnist from the Herald Sun, Susie O'Brien, joins us from Melbourne, and Radio 2CC breakfast host in Canberra, Stephen Senatiempo. Good to talk to you both again. Susie, Albo's out and about a lot, selling his budget. It looks very campaignish, right? And he's going to all sorts of marginal electorates. Do we get the whiff of an election before the end of the year?
Well, 43 electorates. It does feel like an election's coming on. And the more he talks about wanting four-year terms, the more you think, well, he's not going to get it. I mean, he's only got 3. He's still saying that, he wants the election. The election's going to be in about 12 months' time. But it really is starting to feel like it's kind of he's on the hustings already. And, you have to take into account also the huge advertising spend on getting those support for those stage 3 tax cuts. So, I mean, the amount of money, the amount of time they're spending, it does feel like an election.
Oh, that stuff makes me sick. Using our tax dollars to tell us that we're being allowed to keep more of our own tax dollars. It's just crook as, but they all do it. Stephen, the thing is that Albo goes out. It seems to me he's like, today I've got the hard hat on and the bright jacket, and I'm talking about housing or whatever he's talking about. And anyone asks him about anything else, he doesn't know what to say. He's got nothing to offer. The fact that he was just mute on what happened with Gaza and the ICC just astounds me.
Well, it was absolutely disgraceful. The only way to describe it is gutless. But I've said time and time again that this is a government that went into an election with a small target strategy, had no policies to speak of, and then it came to government thinking, well, what do we do now? We don't actually have any policies, and they haven't been able to develop any as we've gone along. I mean, this is a Prime Minister that I get the impression that he never ever really believed he was going to be Prime Minister, and now that he's there, he doesn't know what to do with the office. But having said that, I do think we probably are heading to an election sooner rather than later, and that might be a good thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't predict it yet, but I certainly think, Susie, they're getting themselves in a position where they could do. If inflation tips down because of their energy subsidies to the power companies, and if they do get an easing or even a good outlook on interest rates, they may well be tempted to go late November, early December, especially to avoid what a hot summer could do to them in your home state.
Oh, certainly. And that $300, that was, given to everyone. And I argued that wasn't a wise thing to do. But, they had to do that because of their election promises. So you sort of think that they're starting to tick things off. They're lining it up. But, it's definitely a case that he's trying to make himself a small target. I mean, the fact that he didn't comment on the ICC, finding recently meant that, he doesn't want to draw attention to himself in unexpected ways. It's very much sticking to the script.
Yeah, he's very much a hollow man. Now, of course, Peter Dutton's going to run hard on cutting our immigration rate. He's won support from an unlikely source here. Here's Stephen Miles, the Queensland Premier, backing in Dutton over Albo.
So I welcome Peter Dutton echoing my comments. At the moment, we have a population that is increasing at roughly twice the rate that the Queensland construction sector can build houses. Now that is leaving us with a shortfall of roughly 27,000 houses every year.
Yeah, well, Albo will be loving that from his Queensland mate, Stephen, but maybe Miles isn't as thick as I thought he was.
Well, look, you know what they say, a broken clock's right twice a day, and I don't know that Peter Dutton, it's something to hang your hat on that the work experience kid agrees with you. But look, he's right. We're bringing in people faster than we can build houses, and we're seeing it at the back end. And the reality is that if you're going to say that immigration is about filling a skills shortage, which the government wants to tell us that it is, then you've got to bring the skills in we need to actually fill the gaps that we've got. And that from what I understand, we're not bringing any construction skills in because the unions don't want it. So what are we achieving here other than propping up our GDP artificially to make it look like we're not in a recession?
Yeah, one of the enduring wonders of the Australian political system is that when coalition figures call for a cut to immigration, it's racist and xenophobic. But when Labor politicians call for a cut to immigration, it's just a sensible economic position. But talking about the economy, Susie, there are some storm clouds ahead. We've all been surprised and pleased by how well employment has held up. But Telstra is saying they're going to shed nearly 3,000 jobs. That's an extraordinary number of jobs to go. That's a bit of a wake-up call, and it's a bit of a worry if this is a foretaste of things to come from other major corporates.
Oh, this has come like a thunderbolt today. Even the unions who are in enterprise bargaining negotiations with the company didn't know that this was coming. Suddenly they saw it in the media, the same as everybody else. So Telstra has said it's going to cut about 1 in 10 of their workers, 2,800 staff. Already some of them will be, about 300 will be leaving by the end of this week alone. And people are starting to say that we are really seeing a shift. For years post-COVID, it's been all about the employees. You know, we've been working from home, doing what we want, getting the salaries mostly that we wanted. Now there is a shift, and we're starting to see these massive cuts in these big corporations, and there's certainly going to be more to come. And it's very much going to be an employer's market from here on in. Yeah,
it's a worry how bad it'll get. Let's hope it's not too bad, but you've hit the nail on the head. I think a lot of people who've been working from home might be wanting to turn up in the office a little bit more often, just so they've got some visibility. Thanks for joining us, Stephen and Susie. Appreciate it. Catch you next week.